It's time for an inside look.
Let's go to the park!
Yeah, it's been a while, right? I mean, it's not like SeaWorld hasn't had inside looks. Life has just been busy. That's how it goes sometimes. But we're here for it today. Oh, and guess what we get to play? Yep. Today we get to play another round of Pin Quest. And I am unbelievably excited about that. So without further ado, let's get it started.
So this, personally, I think is one of the coolest things that we do here. Obviously, every animal we work with is amazing. All those animals, we have plenty of dedicated time to work on them. Large whale disentanglement is one of the rare things that we actually do out in the field. So all of this is, when it shows up, that is like the focus of that moment. So this is actually some gear that was removed from a whale a couple years ago. These are some lobster traps. Every entanglement's different, but this one had like 100 yards of line. There's different buoys. Sometimes there's net, sometimes there's different ropes, there's multiple things caught up on it. Every entanglement's totally different, and so we have to make an assessment while we're out there of what it looks like, what we can do, like what we're gonna be able to remove. All of this stuff has serial numbers on it, it has tags, so we can find out where it came from, and that helps the government better regulate those fisheries so we can decide what we can do to help reduce the whale entanglements. We don't want to eliminate fisheries. We're not out to like get the fishermen. Usually this stuff is entirely accidental. But by retrieving this gear, we can help reform the industry and make it more sustainable so that we can have food to feed people and we can have whales that are not getting caught up in everything.
We call our daily amount of fish the breakout. So everyone has a different breakout. Every animal has a different need. We get different animals to rescue and they have different preferences, or when you're not feeling well, you might have something that just hits the spot versus the others. And when they first get here, we'll go ahead and just give them what they want, and then we'll try to kind of get them to a more varied diet to return them out. But you can see the board here, everyone's breakout for the day. So show is Dolphin Show, DP is Dolphin Point, SNO, CYNR, Killer Whale, and you see Rescue. So we're looking, and this is for all the animals at the park, looking at the caloric values of the animals during that time of year and see who has the best calories and what the animals need.
And that's why I love Inside Look. It's kind of like an open house for SeaWorld. Much cooler than any school I ever went to. Truth be told, the way my brain works, I like to look inside things, see behind the scenes, know how things work. Inside Look really speaks to me, especially since it's about caring for animals. And SeaWorld, as we know, does a lot of that. Just look at the statistics. Sometimes I think about the contrast of how SeaWorld originally started out as an idea for an underwater restaurant, and it turned into California's behemoth of animal rescue and rehabilitation. There's also those things. But we're not here for the coasters today. We're here for Inside Look. And next up, we're gonna learn some things that you Otter know.
Are going to be one of their top food choices, and they will also eat clams, mussels, oysters, and things like that. They can trust you to eat those shells super easily. Now, sea otters, they're going to have a lifespan of about 15 years. Again, they spend the most of their life in the water, swimming around. The moms are going to be the ones who take care of their kids. And unfortunately, sometimes there are orphan pups that are found So there is a facility surgery program up in Monterey. They will, again, pair the orphan pups with surrogate moms with the intention of the pups being re-released back up into the wild. Unfortunately, sometimes that does not end up happening and they are not able to be released. That was the case for Coco, Mocha, and our younger one, Ray. These guys can be found from almost under the San Francisco Bay down to this coast of Santa Barbara. For those of you who didn't get to see them up close before, Mocha's on the right-hand side, Coco's on the left here. Mocha is actually our largest sea otter that we have. She's about 55 pounds. Coco's around 48 pounds. And it's actually thought that maybe Mocha might be a hybrid between the northern and the southern because their species have been thought to intermix with the water.
Now the first question that I have for all of you is, because we're talking about whales, what kind of animal do you think a whale is? A mammal! Yes, very good. And we call those marine mammals. They live in the ocean, they find all their food in the ocean, but they have those same 5 characteristics that we all have. There are 2 different types of whales. We're going to talk about toothed whales and baleen whales. Those can be pretty large, but they are generally smaller than baleen whales. They also only have 1 blowhole, so that's 1 blowhole for the toothed whale. They have teeth, right? And the one big example I can give you is this is an example of a killer whale's jaw right here. And they have all of those canicular-shaped teeth in their mouth, and that helps them grasp their prey. Now the other really cool characteristic that we all share, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bony digits. Believe it or not, so do the whales. We're going to learn a little bit more about the other type of whale called a baleen whale, and they have baleen. It's much like your hair or your fingernails is made of keratin, and they would go along the ocean floor and filter out for any small zooplankton or krill and small microscopic organisms that they would filter through and then eat. So this is an example of a human-sized rib bone. Pretty small. Now a whale-sized rib bone is this size. It's as big as I am. What is that? Your spine. And so you're gonna have vertebrae, that's the fancy word. And that vertebrae fits in the size of my hand. This is whale-sized vertebrae. They're pretty different, right? Very different. This is our friend JJ, the gray whale, measuring about 30 feet in length. For JJ the gray whale, it actually has a really interesting name because it was named after a real gray whale calf. JJ rehabilitated here, and then the animal eventually got big enough where it had to be moved to a bigger area and actually went to our underwater killer whale area before ultimately being returned out to the ocean. So JJ is just one example of a success story here from our rescue program. So I hope you all had a great time learning about whales. Have a great rest of your day here at Inside Look, everyone. Bye-bye.
Whale. That was a whale of a side quest. Yes, I just did 2 in 1. Deal with it. I hope you learned something. And what I mean by side quests is that some of the presentations are at locations that don't give you the required stamps that you need to get the pin at the end of the day. They're bonus. And I'm a completionist by nature. And today, that's actually a little bit of a trick. This Inside Look is jam-packed, so my schedule is pretty tight today, getting everything in. Even more truth be told, I tend to spend most of my time in the game side questing anyways. I mean, instead of the main quest. Although today, we're focusing on the main quest, primarily. No, really. Like, when I played Skyrim VR, by the time I got to the main quests, I had already killed half the map. Facts. And speaking of quests, we have a main one to complete. Like right now.
her baby plumage. She's nice and silver, her baby grays, her eyes are very light. And then if you look at the adults in the exhibit, they all have those black and white racing stripes. So she'll get those like at the end of next summer when they all bolt in like August. She'll get her stripes. This is a girl. You can't actually tell by looking at her. You just know who she is. So she has little bracelets, one on each wing, and those are her little name bands. But her nickname is June or Juniper. Yeah, little girl. She's a very sweet girl. You love penguins? She's like 60. Amazing.
So, 2 side quests in a row. Never hurts, right? All right, on to the next waypoint.
So first question is, how old are the turtles? So our average lifespan in here, we've got about 40 to 60 years old for our turtles. It is very hard to tell how old a turtle is once they reach adulthood. Why do turtles have shells? So we're gonna go ahead and ask that question to our diver. Our answer to our question of why they have shells, that is to protect themselves. If you need an example of a shell, I got one right over here on my back. Other questions we're about to ask as well is the temperature that the turtles like. Another question we also had were their names. All right, so our temperature, they prefer 75 degrees. That's gonna be though, for not all the turtles. Some of their names are gonna be Chippy. She's one of our darker shell turtles. We also have a hawksbill in here. That name is Peach. We also have others like Miss Magnolia, Daisy.
A visit with the turtles is always a good time, and I like how they had interaction with the divers, asking questions, playing tic-tac-toe. Very cool. In the past, the divers have been able to communicate with the people on the outside of the glass. Also cool. All right, now we head to the pinnipeds.
Very near to me, I'm sure it's very near and dear to some of you guys. It is food. I really like myself a nice oatmeal, a nice brown cinnamon sugar oatmeal. Just think about it. A lot of people don't like oatmeal, but I really do. But imagine if I had to eat that oatmeal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And just think of it, if it's that way with us, we need to switch it up for our animals too, right? It's only fair. They get mackerel, they get herring, they get capelin, they get sardines, they get squid as well. Our little guys across the way, they actually get shrimp too, the little Asian small otters. They love shrimp. They get their own personalized bucket. All we need to do is call that vet behavior, and they'll go to a specific point within the habitat in which they know to go to. That's where they will get fed. One of the first things that they actually learn when they show up here is their name. It's really important for them to know their name so that we can call them over and, pick them up on the spot if need be, right? Something very important, it's called husbandry behavior. Husbandry behavior is essentially behavior in which the animal itself participates in its own health care. So any one of our animals here, they can actually be picked up. If I say, Molly, come here, Molly will come right up to me, I'm carrying her bucket. I'll walk her all the way to the back pools. There's actually pools behind this rock formation as well. And we'll say scale. They'll hop right onto the scale, they'll stay nice and still. Right, we get a nice good weight. Okay, here, you got reinforced. Here's some fish, here's some fish, here's some fish. Let's go do something else, Molly, right? So those small little behaviors go a long way. get a lot of trust and a lot of bond creation with our animal. It's really, really important.
You know, ever since I started coming to SeaWorld, I developed this affinity for pinnipeds, especially sea lions. They're so cool. And when they do that little flipper walk, adorable. All right, let's keep rolling.
Right down the hatch. Very nice, Ike. Now, you'll notice they have 40 to 60 ice cream cone-shaped teeth. But when we're giving them water and we're giving them fish, they actually don't use those teeth for chewing. They don't chew their food at all. They don't have the same gag reflex as we do. So they can just swallow those big salmons whole. It's like eating a little Tic Tac for them. They don't breathe out of their mouth at all. All the air is coming in and out of the blowhole, that blowhole on top of their head. So we're gonna bring this Petri dish right on down over to Ike. Ella is gonna ask Ike to breathe on command. So she's gonna take 2 fingers, put it right on his back, and then hopefully he doesn't blow off this microphone or the Petri dish. Very nice. We can take this Petri dish, give it to the vets, and then we can see if any of the whales are sick. So all our presentations and sessions are entirely voluntary. Almost all behaviors you'll see today are created by the whales themselves. We then add a hand signal to have the whales do that specific behavior when asked. Hunter's gonna ask her to mimic, go back. Ashley's gonna ask her to go right here and fling that water. She's got it. Here she comes. 3, 2, 1. Very nice, Shuka. Good job. Hunter's gonna hook her up for that. Hunter blew this high-pitched whistle right when she flung the water. That lets her know, great job. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Come on back and get a reward. Now our last session we're gonna take a peek at is exercise. So the whales learn at different speeds just like you and I. They're all individuals. But exercise is a really great way to keep them mentally stimulated, while learning is a great way to keep them overall stimulated as well. Now we're gonna have all 4 whales join us out here to send you guys off on a really cool exercise behavior.
I always enjoy a nice visit with the orcas. What amazing animals. You know, during the presentation they mentioned that Corky was 60 years old, but did you know that Corky used to live at Marineland, just north of here? You know, Marineland, the park that inspired SeaWorld to become a marine park instead of a underwater restaurant. True story. Also, just kind of wondering what that table is there for. Interesting. All right, now that we've had a visit with some of the ocean's largest dolphins, let's have a visit with some of the smaller ones.
And so the idea is the dolphin will come up and we can say laterally with their peck in the air, and then we can give them a signal, they'll kick their flukes in the water and spin around a circle. And we're going to actually have Mallory, who's still learning the behavior here, demonstrate this for all of us. And I'm going to grab a target pole. It basically looks like a giant Q-tip, but it's a very simple behavior. All they have to do is touch their rostrum to the Q-tip. Very simple, easy behavior. She's going to slide on out right here. Mallory, just wait right there. Don't go anywhere. And now I'm going to give her the Q-tip, and we're going to swing it around. 1, 2, 3. Very nice. So you can see she's starting to learn to spin around. It's like, yeah, she's so excited. You did it. That's what we call the victory squeal. It's one of our favorite sounds in the entire world for a dolphin to give us. It's their way of telling us that we're having good fun. When they give us that squeal, it's a really good communicator. That was a ton of fun. Let's do it again. She's still got that whole jackpot reward in her mouth. If you're alright, give her a nice good wave goodbye. Say thanks, Malibu. Alrighty folks, now we're going to transition to a little bit of playtime. One of the dolphins' favorite things in the world. We're going to bring out some of their favorite items, some different types of physio balls and stuff.
You know, I'm not really sure of the science or the psychology behind it, but for some reason, every living creature enjoys playing with spheres. I mean, dogs absolutely love playing with balls. Humans have all kinds of sports that revolve around carrying and throwing balls. And have you ever seen a horse play with a giant rubber ball? Very entertaining. And as we just saw, the dolphins are no exception. Yeah, dolphins playing with balls might tie the sea lion flipper walk for most adorable. All right, we're not quite to the end of our pin quest today, but we're getting close. The next one might just make you a little jelly.
So typically they're going to be clear, so you kind of see these guys where they aren't hitting the light and they basically just look clear. That's going to be them basically 24/7. If you look at this center of them, they look kind of orangish. That's because of the food they eat. So if you ever see them different colors, it's basically be whatever food that they eat that they basically turn into that color in the center. So they're going to be orange because we primarily feed them brine shrimp, also known as sea monkeys. They have stinging tentacles. If you look at them closely, you kind of see like little hairs that's on the side. Those are going to be their stinging cells. And then basically the food gets trapped there. And then even on their tentacles, they have little hairs too. So those are all going to be their stinging cells. Our sea turtles will eat these guys. So we have given some moon jellies as an enrichment to our actual sea turtles here.
And the venom just doesn't even affect them?
Nope. So it's just like with us, I can stick my hand in there right now. I won't feel anything. Unless you have super sensitive skin, you may feel like a tickling feeling. But for us, it's perfectly harmless for us. Same as the upside downs. Our skin is just too thick that it can't actually puncture through us.
Look at the tiny baby jellyfish in the vial. They're so cute.
Okay, so I'm pretty excited for that to open. Jellyfish are just cool, and like some of them are bioluminescent, some of them glow when you shine lights on them. Too cool. Oh, what unexpected inside look. We've got an unexpected guest in the park, giving him space. Or her. I think I can smell that thing over here. It's not spraying, but I can still smell it. Not strong, it's a little odoriferous. And I'm keeping my distance. Oh, there's a contrast right there. Smelling the flowers, huh? All right, we're almost done with our pin quest, but we have one more stamp to collect.
Now Now, we've actually been partnering with SeaWorld for the last 29 years, and we've gotten to witness some of the amazing rescue work that they continue to do. And we brought some awesome animals for you, and we're actually going to start with one of our local friends. His name is Twitch.
This is Twitch, our Virginia opossum. This was originally an East Coast animal, but they spread all across the United States. Well, the railroad tracks were built. In fact, they're brought state to state as a food source. These guys, they only live 2 to 3 years. But check this out. In those 2 to 3 years, a mama opossum will have over 50 babies. Yeah. If I had 50 kids, I'd probably cough for 3 years too.
This is Spike, and he is the North American alligator. Now, this guy here, he's been doing an educational program for us for the past 34 years. See, 34 years ago, he was found being kept in a man's bathtub in Los Angeles, and he was taken away, and he's been helping us do programs ever since. Now, the North American alligator. These guys are perfectly set up for life in our southern swamps. Everything from his nose being positioned on top of his snout to these amazing spikes that run down his entire body and act like armor and protect him from other alligators. To this big, beautiful tail. He can pump that tail along and swim faster than a bottlenose dolphin can. Take that, Dolphin Stadium. He even has close to 2,000 pounds per square inch of crushing power in that mouth. Whenever he grabs a hold of something, you can bet it's always his. See, so many alligators were overhunted for that skin of theirs that we almost lost the largest reptile that we have here in the United States. But you guys know what happened? People got involved. They started protecting the alligators, they started protecting the alligators' habitats, and now there are over 2 million alligators in Florida alone. Now they have to have a hunting season just to manage the population. But it shows that if we truly care about species, we can make a big difference out in the wilds.
And this is Tia, our tegu. These guys come from the eastern parts of South America, but Tia here, she was purchased from a local pet shop along with their sibling. And these guys, they are actually doing really well in the pet trade, but there's a problem. People are picking them up, they don't know how to take care of them anymore, they get tired of them, they get escaped, they get released back out in the wild, and they've now become a highly invasive species to Florida. And they're a highly adaptable animal with claws that can scale trees, dig holes, a tail they can slap predators silly with as long as they swim really fast. When they stick that tongue out, they collect scent particles from each side of their tongue, they bring that right back to their mouth, and that allows them to smell where their prey is hiding. They have these big old jaws. Right under their jaws, looks like they have 2 baseballs hanging from each side of their mouth. They flare those out, they make them really big. That attracts the ladies. They start doing push-ups. That normally seals the deal. A couple months later, the babies are born, they have these bright green heads. That helps them camouflage when they're small so they don't get eaten by predators. But these guys are doing so well out there in Florida that they're actually eating our endangered birds, they're getting to eat our North American crocodile eggs, which is a highly endangered animal that's coming back from the brink of extinction.
This is Ruckus, and what is he? A raccoon, otherwise known as the trash panda, the cat food caper, the dumpster deviant, the garbage grubber, the bin bandit, the rubbish robber. Regardless of all their silly nicknames, raccoons are one of the most highly adapted animals on this planet. For instance, their fingertips. See, raccoons, they have hypersensitive fingertips that are about 6 times more sensitive than yours or mine. Every single week at our center, we get a call saying we're having an issue. When we ask what the problem is, 9 times out of 10, this family says, well, we have this whole group of raccoons that comes up onto our porch at night and eats all our dog food and our cat food. We're leaving food out in the middle of the night expecting a wild animal not to come up and eat it. You bring that dog food and that cat food in at night, you make sure your trash cans are nice and secure, then these guys, they'll go back to eating the things they're supposed to eat, which in our areas is stuff like slugs, snails, insects, and small rodents.
This is Nova, and what is she? She is the owl, she is the great horned owl. See, if we turned off every single light in this theater right now, and you just lit one tiny little candle, she'd be able to see as well as we can right now. So they have about 7 extra vertebrae in that neck. 14 cervical vertebrae. It's not like the cartoons, they can't go around and around and around, but they can go about 270 degrees. So those comb feathers give them the gift of silent flight. So that helps them sneak on down and kill about 2 to 3 mice every single night.
This is Spirit, and she is the bald eagle. Bald eagles are one of the most recognizable and inspiring animals on this planet. We almost lost the bald eagles due to a chemical called DDT. See, DDT was this miracle pesticide. That chemical would wash into the riverways. It would be absorbed by the fish. The eagles would then eat those fish, and the eagles themselves would survive. But they ended up with a calcium deficiency. And that calcium deficiency resulted in the bald eagles laying very soft eggs. So when they would nest, the eggs would break, and no new generations of eagles were being born. DDT was banned in the 70s, but the problem was still occurring. It actually took the help of passionate people that would watch the bald eagles' nests, waiting for moms to lay their eggs. Right when those eggs were laid, they would chase mom away, they would take the soft eggs back to incubate them, and leave fake eggs in the nest. Now, right when those babies would hatch, they'd rush them back to that very same nest. Those babies didn't have the chemical in their system anymore. And this worked so well that in 2007, like I said, that process was working so well, though, that in 2007, the bald eagles were able to be taken off the endangered species list, and now they're here pooping on your stage.
All right, and this little guy is Flip, the California desert tortoise. Flip here, the desert tortoise, their population is almost completely devastated because of humans. See, they would see these guys walking across the road, they would swoop them on up and try and make a pet out of them, then they get tired taking care of them, and they would release them right back out in the wild. The problem was, is the ones that were being taken into people's homes were developing a lung infection. And when those ones were released back out into the wild, they were giving that to their wild cousins, which is killing them off and completely devastating those populations. So the California Fish and Wildlife Program granted permits to those desert tortoises in captivity to allow them to remain and live the remainder of their days under human care so they wouldn't affect their wild friends. Only problem is, though, Flip here outlived his owner. Flip is 70 years old. So he takes his dinners at 4 o'clock sharp and not a minute later.
This is Tater Tot, and what is she? A capybara. Back when I was a kid, they were kind of like a trivia animal. But ever since these guys have been discovered on social media for doing funny things like sitting on the backs of crocodiles, or baby capybaras surfing on the backs of mom capybaras through the waterways, or cute little photos of a capybara wearing an orange peel as a hat. But no, they survive in the South American rainforest alongside top-tier predators like jaguars, crocodiles, caiman, and even anacondas. So on day one, a capybara that's just been born can already walk and run. They can already swim. Do you know what you guys can do when you were 1 day old? You could cry and hopefully poop. Now, Tater Tot, though, she actually came to our center in a really weird way. See, there was a breeding program out in Arizona, but their owner unexpectedly passed away. So they called us up, asking if we could give some animals a home. And we took in some amazing creatures, including a capybara that showed up at our center and gave birth 2 days later. Tater Tot's mom, she was taking really good care of the other babies, but she rejected Tater Tot. And so I had to take her in when she was only about 4 days old. She has since become best friends with my little dachshund, my wiener dog. Because we get to work with all these awesome wild animals, though, people do tend to ask us this one question. They tend to ask us, like, what your favorite animal is. Here he comes. This is my favorite animal. I trust him, he trusts me. I know he wants to be with me. The wild, we're doing our best to protect them out there where they're truly supposed to be.
Okay, so the last time we saw that show, it was over in the Nautilus Amphitheater. You might have recognized some of the animals from before, although we did get to see some new ones this time. I don't think I've ever seen a capybara before. That was incredibly cool. But you know what? We've gotten all the stamps and thus completed our quest. You know what that means. And that's visit a certain shopkeeper to make a little trade. And there it is, the 2025 SeaWorld Inside Look as acquired at SeaWorld San Diego. And actually, I think I accidentally set the difficulty level to expert. That's okay, no sweat. I'm an expert. Yeah, this pin was particularly challenging to obtain today, but got it done. Yeah, this is one area I didn't really get to visit today. They had these booths set up with people to talk to about what SeaWorld does and the Hubs Research Institute. But today just got super busy. I've got a lot of editing to do, which if you're watching this, I've already done it. Time travel. And with that, it's about time for me to head on out. Thank you so much for joining me on this little trip to SeaWorld San Diego for some inside look. Till next time, see you later.
It would mean a lot to us if you can all start making your way out and clearing out the amphitheater so we can prepare for our next presentation. Thank you all so much for joining us here at Dolphin Adventures. And I'd like to finish up by saying we do have folks here to stamp your inside look passports over here on the left and right sides of the amphitheater.
Here comes the skunk cage. Huh.
Hey, quiet.